Just ask Meghan why she kicked the only parent present out of the car before she got to the church and made her mother walk into the church by herself. She damn well could have given Doria the honor, but she chose to walk by herself half of the way. Meghan's conscious bias, aka on full display. If I am not mistaken, Meghan had initially wanted to walk alone, but was persuaded it would look better for Charles to escort her. Even so, she only had him escort her part of the way. She didn't want to share the spotlight, even with the future king of the UK. Charles may sometimes wonder whether escorting Meghan down the aisle to marry Harry was a worse mistake than marrying Diana. At least Diana was a monarchist who only wanted to destroy him. Who exactly came up with the big splashy wedding in the first place, I wonder? Did Meghan work on it through Harry, or did he demand to have just as many sausages as William got? It probably came from Meghan, but at that time Harry wanted whatever Meghan demanded. What I will always wonder is why the late Queen and Charles didn't do more to slow things down. There were many good reasons not to give Harry and Meghan a big splashy wedding that year. 1. Meghan was divorced. 2. Meghan's family would not be paying for it. 3. Another royal wedding, Eugenie's, had been planned for that year. 4. Harry and Meghan hadn't known each other all that long. If Harry pulled the "but William" card, they could have pointed out that Kate had not been married before, that Kate's parents had paid for most of the wedding, and that William and Catherine had known each other for years before they married. If Harry threatened to blame racism, they could have told him that delaying the wedding a half year to a year so that Eugenie, whose wedding had already been scheduled, could marry first was not going to look like racism to anyone. It's all in the spin. If Harry threatened to elope without the Queen's permission, it could have been made clear that if they eloped, there would be no wedding present of a title. Harry really wanted to be Duke of something. To him, it seems to have meant adulthood. I think that the mistake the British royal family made was that, faced with Harry's determination, they decided to make the best of it and reap the good publicity that would come from a royal wedding to a biracial person. In this context, I imagine she let him think she was pregnant, and the idea of his heir not being legitimate galvanized the whole royal family into action. She knew she was on the clock, dragging his butt across the finish line before he got a better offer. How could she know he was truly hooked? A medical checkup by palace doctors would have been in order. It is said that Diana was required to have one to make sure she had no fertility issues, so Meghan should have felt she was following her idol. Seriously, I know how difficult it would have been to demand a pregnancy test, but it's a shame the royals don't have a policy of full medical checkups in case where a pregnancy is alleged. Neither Elizabeth nor Philip was bad looking, and there were tall people in the family before William. You never know the heredity. A child of Charles and Camilla could have turned out to be attractive, just as Harry turned out to be rather plain. Diana brought good looks, but she also passed on male-pattern baldness to her boys. Then Harry's intellectual limitations and predisposition to emotional imbalance may also come from Diana. We don't know why William turned out to be handsome and stable, why Harry turned out so differently. The monarchy lucked out. Setting aside the good and bad genes Diana passed on to their kids, I would be surprised if Charles hasn't often regretted marrying her. They were both unhappy, the children suffered, and Charles is still under a bit of shadow over the failure of that marriage. I am sure the last thing Charles wanted was to see Harry the way he is today. I wonder how his regrets about his own first marriage compared to his regrets about Harry and Meghan's. Charles was denied the right to marry the only woman he loved, because Camilla was deemed a commoner and she wasn't a virgin. And because he was the Prince of Wales, his parents demanded he marry someone with a title or from a family with royal status, hence Diana. I think he loved her in his own way at first, but she was so young, so unstable, and they had absolutely nothing in common that the marriage was doomed from the start. Her family also pushed for her to marry him. It was essentially a form of arranged marriage in a way. She was 16 or 17 when they met, and he was much older than she was. It was a complete disaster. I don't think he regrets marrying her, because they did have 2 children and he does adore his kids, as any parent should adore their children. I think he regrets that it became such a disaster, and they both were so horrifically unhappy for so long in that marriage. It's a case of they both screwed up in various ways in that marriage. Of course, Charles doesn't want to see his youngest son out of the family fold and estranged from him. Despite everything that's happened, Harry is still his son and he still loves him, and I imagine Harry loves his father as well. I don't know how or when there will be a proper reconciliation. So many bridges have been burnt down in this process that it will take a lot of work from both sides to reconcile. I don't know if William will ever truly forgive Harry for what he has done. I suspect that in a lot of ways, the only thread holding those brothers together is Charles. From another angle, an insider expressed his opinion. I think Charles must regret marrying Diana because of the damage she did to his reputation and image. She wanted him removed from the line of succession with the throne going from Elizabeth to William. She presented herself as the betrayed wife and led the charge against Camilla, even though Diana herself was having affairs. I agree that initially he liked her and felt affection toward her, but their marriage was a disaster and everyone suffered. They wanted different things, and they were very different people in addition to being at different stages in their lives. Yes, the children were loved, but the mistake of marrying Diana is still haunting him, with Harry's behavior among other things. In some ways, what is happening with Meghan and Harry must seem to Charles like a distorted echo of what happened when his marriage publicly fell apart. That it must be heartbreaking for any father to be betrayed by his son and watch him destroy himself. What do you think about Harry and Meghan's unstable marriage? Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. We hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.